All right, ta-da! Here we are. Hello and welcome. It's Monday. It's 9 a.m. and you guys made it. So good job, you. And I hope to see you all every day. Not every day. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 a.m. I'll be here. But I also know, like, for college students, 9 a.m. is like, might as well be 6 a.m. or something, you know? But anyway, I hope you had a great spring break. I had a great spring break, and I did no work over spring break. And part of that, like, I'm still like finishing my syllabus. And so I know you're probably wondering, like, when is your syllabus going to be ready and things. So I've got a lot of work to do today, and I will get that up and ready to go. But yeah. So anyway, I apologize for being a little bit behind, but I will get everything up and ready. But anyway, this is Stats 15, and welcome. And let's take a look. All right, must and please. Okay, so you must read the syllabus when I get it ready. Okay, so I will post the syllabus. I will also create a course or a forum on Campuswire. That's I don't know if you've used Campuswire before, or Piazza or some kind of discussion forum thing. And so that's how we will have a class discussion forum set up online. This is Stats 15. And so use that. And you know, if you miss class, if you don't attend, I record the lectures, and so you'll have to watch the lectures, okay? And that's that. I hate to say this, but it is true, and I need to warn you. I am bad at email, okay? It takes me a long time to respond. Sometimes I don't even respond to, if you send me an email or something. But I will have office hours. But to make up, so I'm just very well aware of my deficiency when it comes to responding to email. So to try to make up for that, I hold a lot of office hours instead. So I will have office hours on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, okay? Probably Monday, Wednesday, Friday will be like 10:30 a.m. to noon. So hopefully you'll have you're available to come at some time. Tuesday will probably be in the afternoon. Saturdays are Saturday mornings. So I promise you, if you come to office hours, and I'll be on in person and on Zoom and things like that. If you come to office hours, I'll respond to you. I won't ignore you in office hours. But the way I use email is I use emails as kind of like receipts, in terms of like, we talk about something in office hours. You have some kind of issue that needs resolution or something, and we talk about it in office hours, and then afterwards I'll send you an email that just says, as discussed in office hours, you get an extension. Or as discussed in office hours, like, we'll do this instead, or whatever, right? So, I guess just to say, come to office hours, it'll get resolved. I know I'm bad at email, so I try to have a bunch of office hours instead to try to make myself available that way. So that will that's what we have. Okay. Also, if you have just like a question about your homework, that's where Campuswire kind of plays in. You go on Campuswire, you post your question, your classmates will respond, okay? Your classmates, you can respond to each other's things. Campuswire will play a part of your grade, and, if somebody responds to your question, give them an upvote. That helps them out. You get points and things like that. So you can do that. You can also send me direct messages on Campuswire, and you'll probably get faster responses that way as well. We have a textbook. This is it. You can buy it at the bookstore. You can also read the entire textbook for free online in your browser. You just have to You just have to read it like this, okay? And if you're okay with that, you don't have to spend any money. But if you want a paper textbook, you can spend your money and buy a paper textbook. But not today. That's what we've got. Okay. This is. I guess I'll talk about some of this, and I will post the syllabus. And I'm just kind of tweaking a few things on the syllabus, but this is probably how it's going to be. There's going to be regular homework assignments where I post kind of like some questions, and you answer your questions and you submit them. There's also going to be there's a website called Data Camp, and I'm not sure if you've heard of Data Camp, but it's kind of this interactive website where you take these like little online courses. They play a little video, and then you have to like type in your responses, and it's good for covering a lot of the basics, and you do your homework there and you get credit, and so that's intended to be an easy way to get points. I have something called lecture viewing quizzes, and I feel like I'm just giving you a bunch of free points with the lecture viewing quizzes, but that's okay. We'll do that, all right? And then there will be an exam. It is not a final, but it takes place like in 8th week or something. But it's an exam. So it's an exam. I don't want to call it a midterm because it's kind of towards the end of the quarter, but it's also not the final, because if you call something the final, like UCLA has like very strict rules about like what the final is. And basically, once you take the final, like you're not allowed to drop the class. But this is not a final. This is just an exam that's towards the end of the course. And if you take it, you can still drop the class, all right? So I just need to make that clear, right? There's a distinction there. Instead, your final is, there's gonna be a group project, okay? The final group project is the final thing, and once you do your final group project, then you can't drop the class, all right? That's the distinction there. And I'll talk about the group project, but it's going to be like a data analysis project, I think. A lot of data science, a lot of this idea is, it's hard to really get a good grasp on it without some kind of practical application. And so my hope is that this group project will be a good learning experience for you. There will be aspects that are frustrating, and anybody who's done a group project knows that part of that aspect is just the fact that you're working in a group can be frustrating. And so I hope you're able to, all of you, find a group that you're happy with, but I hope the project will also be a good learning experience. So there will be a final group project. It's worth a lot of your grade, and so I will give you lots of information about it. And I want you to invest a lot of time into it, because I feel like that's where a lot of your learning is going to happen. Okay, grade stuff. That's that. Okay, so lecture view quizzes. What is a lecture view quiz? And one student just left, since you can. This is normally, but So first of all, I like seeing students in seats in class. I like seeing you here, and so I know 9 a.m. is early for a lot of you, but if you can make it and come at 9 a.m., please do. I like seeing you, and sit near the front, okay? Those of you in the back, like, I can see you, but also like I don't feel like we're connecting, right? But if you sit in the front row, like, I'm stationed over here. I often make small talk in the couple minutes before class, and maybe we'll have a little chit chat. But anyway, if you're able to come to class, please come to class. But I also know some of you will miss class, and if you miss class, I record the lecture. Please watch the video, and it's actually, you are required to watch the video. And the way, I don't take attendance. I don't have a roster, and I don't check things off. the way I kind of like enforce attendance and make sure you at least watched the lecture is via the lecture view quiz, okay? And so I just published the Canvas Brew and Learn thing, and you'll see under week 1, there's the week 1 Monday lecture viewing quiz, okay? And when you take the quiz, you will see 3 questions. There's no context to the question, okay? And the only way you're going to get the answer is by me telling you, all right? And so in lecture, I will say something like the first quiz answer, and this is true for today's week 1 Monday, so jot this down on a piece of paper or put it in in your notes or open up the quiz now. The first view quiz answer is the letter D. D as in dog. D as in dog. That's your first view quiz answer. I will give you quiz answer 2 and number 3 later on today. And this is kind of how I encourage you to watch the video. And so this is, so that's it. That's all you have to do, okay? You just answer 3 questions and, you don't have to like understand any content. You just had to listen, okay? So the first answer is the letter D. Now, it's a quiz, okay? So treat it like a quiz, like, sharing answers is like cheating and things like that. And it's made so you just kind of either attend lecture or watch the video, okay? Now, the quiz is open until Wednesday, 8:59 a.m., okay? So you have to answer today's quiz either today or tomorrow or Wednesday before 8:59 a.m., right? And this is to kind of keep you on track because a lot of the lecture builds off of the previous lectures and stuff like that. And so this is to kind of keep you on pace so that you don't end up with like 6 hours of viewing to catch up in one weekend or something, because that could happen too, right? So anyway, they're only open for a small window. Make sure you respond to the lecture view quiz. So again, the first quiz answer was the letter D. D as in dog. That's your first view quiz answer, and I will give you the second ones. Okay. Don't come to class if you're sick, okay? Same with the exam. If you're sick, don't come. Just let me know and we'll work something out, okay? And if you can't attend live, watch the video. Does that kind of make sense regarding the lecture view quiz? All right, let's talk about this class itself. So this class is titled Introduction to Data Science. Data science is like this hot new buzzword and things like that. Data scientist for like the past, 10 years or so has been consistently in the top, the top 10 jobs or like data scientist and things like that, among, other great jobs and stuff. So what is data science? And this is taken from Wikipedia, okay? And we could also probably ask ChatGPT, what is data science? And they give some kind of answer. And so it says, data science is an interdisciplinary field that uses scientific methods, processes, algorithms, and systems to extract knowledge and insight from noisy, structured, and unstructured data and apply knowledge and actionable insights from data across a broad range of application domains. Okay, that is an answer to what the question, what is data science? Maybe it's a little bit too, it's a good answer, but it's also like there's too much stuff there, right? Basically, it's the idea like we've got a bunch of data and we want to draw information and meaning from it, okay? So we're in this age where there's just a ton of data going available to us, but how do we draw insight? How do we draw something meaningful out of that? And that's what data science comes down to. I wrote, we're kind of living in this golden age of data. At the same time, it's like we're in this dark age of privacy, and I don't know if we'll ever climb out of this dark age of privacy, or if we've all just kind of traded away our privacy, and maybe we're okay with it, maybe we're trying to reclaim it. I'm not quite sure. Companies in every sector recognize the power of data. They're investing tons of energy, money, and resources into obtaining data, analyzing data, hiring data analysts, data scientists, and that's why it's a popular field, is because there's a lot of money in it. And why is data science so great, or why is data so important? Well, it's been shown time and time again that when you make conclusions and decisions based on data, those are more reliable. They're better at making predictions than when you make decisions based on kind of your gut feelings or tradition or instinct and a lot of things. And so they realize, we can make money off of this, and that's informed a lot of kind of design choices for the apps you're using, and informed a lot of marketing approaches and stuff, and all of those targeted ads you're getting. You feel like your phone is spying on you. Maybe it is, but I don't think so. I think it's just really good data science happening in the background. Okay. I don't know if you've heard, the statistics major and the statistics department has rebranded ourselves as the Department of Statistics and Data Science, and the major is now this Bachelor's of Science in Statistics and Data Science. And a lot of kind of statisticians have said data science is just another name for statistics. And there's probably a lot of truth. The statistics and data science are very, very closely intertwined. There's a little bit of a distinction in that data science deals kind of with, I would say, data sets that come from the modern age, right? Where we have these big data sets that just weren't available or didn't exist, if you go back a few generations. Okay, so statistics has been around for a while, and so not a lot. Early 1900s, late 1800s, statistics was developing, and that came at a time where data was rare and expensive to obtain. So you had data coming from agricultural applications, and they wanted to know what combination of fertilizer and watering schedule and things like that would yield the most amount of harvest in your crop. And so gathering the data meant working and tilling the fields for sowing crops and stuff, and it would take you an entire year to gain one data point on this thing, and you'd have to dedicate different plots of land, and you might get 25 data points or 30 data points, all right? And that was years of investment to get those data points. And so a lot of the earlier methods in statistics were based around how do we get the most amount of information that we can out of these 30 data points, right? And so, in the statistics major, there's, of course, Stats 101B, design of experiments. And that's all about this idea of how do we get the most information out of a certain experiment? How do we design our experiment to get the most information out? And that's still very important in the medical context. In medicine, to get is this new medication effective? You need a patient, and that patient you do some kind of clinical trial, and maybe you get 50 patients to volunteer with this experimental thing. And each patient, you have to pay the doctors and the nurses and all of these things. It might cost thousands, tens of thousands of dollars for that one data point, because, you have to kind of follow this patient for quite a bit of time. And so that design of experiments is still very important in certain contexts. But I would say, I think, so that's kind of what this slide is saying. But on the other hand, we also live in this time of big data, right? Where we have these massive, massive, massive data sets coming from just like the internet computer keeps track of all of the buttons you're clicking, right? You open an app and they know exactly how long the video played before you swiped to the next video. How long did this happen, right? Like if you use some kind of dating app, they know exactly who's swiping right and left on every single person, and there's some huge data set, and they're analyzing it. Okay, you agreed to it when you clicked I agree and things like that. Okay, and they're just too big to kind of be able to do any kind of calculations by hand, and so we have to be able to interact with them using a computer. And having massive data sets comes with a whole different set of problems and challenges. And I would say data science is more focused on this side of the problem, where we have these big data sets and we have challenges involved with working with big data sets. And so it is statistics applied to these things, but also like in keeping in mind all of the challenges revolved around being able to manage and wrangle all of that kind of stuff, okay? There's this Venn diagram that's been around for a little while, and I like it. And it says this is what data science is, okay? It's kind of, the original author of this Venn diagram wrote hacking skills, but I kind of like to call this coding skills or coding ability, math and stats knowledge, and substantive expertise. Substantive expertise basically means you need to be an expert on whatever subject you are doing your data analysis on, okay? So if you are doing your data set comes from, health, okay, medicine, like you should understand, like you should know stuff about, whatever health application it is. So, the example, if you're looking at kidney patient data, I don't know anything about kidneys, but like, they measure blood levels, and then maybe they say, hey, we're looking at this certain enzyme, and you need to know, like, is 0.015 a high number or a low number? And if you have no idea, it's meaningless, right? If you are analyzing data from, say, sports, so baseball season just started, and there's lots of data in baseball, and you say, okay, here's on-base percentage, okay? On-base percentage of, 0.402, okay? Is that good? Is that bad? And if you have no idea, then you are not going to be able to analyze this data. So you need to be a subject matter expert on whatever subject it is that you're looking at, or you need to, if you don't know something about that subject, you need to work with somebody who is an expert on that subject. And so this course will cover a little bit of the hacking skills or the coding skills and a little bit of kind of the math and statistics foundations. But I am not able to give you this part just because there's so many different subjects that you can apply, these ideas to. So, you kind of have to be the expert. And so when you do a group project, there's going to be different data sets available to you. And one of my requirements is that in your group, there has to be at least one person who is very knowledgeable about this subject that you have chosen. Okay, and so there's this popular data set that students are tempted to choose sometimes, and it's like this wine tasting data set. Okay, and they've analyzed all kinds of different things about wine and things like that, and I don't think I don't know. I mean, is anybody an expert on wine? Okay, probably not. I mean, some of you drink wine, but I don't know if any of you would say I'm an expert, right? Can you explain the difference between a Merlot or a Cabernet or a Sauvignon or whatever it is that they call it, right? And if you can't tell me the difference between these things, I would say you have no business dealing with this wine data set, right? You need to be, at least very knowledgeable on this subject, okay? And so I would say don't do that data set unless someone's like, oh yeah, my parents own a winery, and so I've known all about these kinds of things and like the tasting notes and stuff like that. Okay, great. Go ahead. Go with the wine data set. But if that's not you, probably there's better data sets, okay? So anyway, what's the data theory major? Data theory major, some of you are data theory majors. This is a combination of kind of the math major with a statistics major. And, you know, as the name suggests, data theory major focuses a lot on kind of the theoretic components and ideas behind data science and statistics and stuff. So there's a lot of kind of theoretic math. There's a lot of upper division advanced math courses. If you don't major in data theory and you just major in statistics, you do get some mathematical theory, but just not as much. Okay, the data theory major goes into those theoretic courses in a lot more depth. If you're thinking of going to grad school, data theory is a great choice, or you could do statistics or something. But if you're thinking of grad school and say statistics or data science, then there's kind of a little bit of an expectation that you have some theoretic math background. And so, you know, I would recommend that you take some of these advanced math courses, you know, the advanced linear algebra or analysis or optimization or things like that. Those courses, I think, are good. These are like required if you are a data theory major, whereas if you're not a data theory major, they would be optional, but recommended if you're thinking of grad school, okay? And things like that. How is this course different from Stats 10? Did anyone take AP Stats? A handful of you. What about like Stats 10 or Stats 13? Any of you? Okay, no. Oh, you did. Okay. So those are like introductory courses, and they take a very classical approach. You know, focus a lot on like the central limit theorem and confidence intervals and things like that. And this class is going to be a little bit more intense than, say, Stats 10. And we're going to take a very kind of data-centric approach. And a lot of the stuff we're going to be looking at, like creating visualizations, being able to summarize, and just a tiny bit of data modeling. And we're going to use R and RStudio, okay, to do this. There's another course in the stats department called Stats 20. That's like an introduction to R programming. Has any of you taken Stats 20? Okay, a few of you. Are any of you planning on taking Stats 20? Is that like in your upcoming course thing? Okay, so maybe not. That's an introduction to R programming. So there's like certain programming concepts. It's kind of like Pick 10A. But for R rather than C++ or something. 102A covers like more R programming. This class, there's going to be some interacting with R, less on the programming aspects, okay? More on the application of R for data analysis, okay? There's always this question, why do we use R? Why don't we use Python? And full disclaimer, I love both R and Python, okay? I teach courses in Python. I teach courses in R. And I was directed by the department to teach this course in R. And I'm okay with that. I think R and RStudio has some particularly great tools for data visualization. Python has some decent tools. Matplotlib is pretty good, but in my opinion, ggplot in R is better. It's controversial, I guess, but I think ggplot is really good, and we will be using that. And I also like the textbook that we're using, and our textbook uses R as well. So. But, you know, if you want to learn Python, I'm happy to direct you to some resources. I also teach a course in Python. But yeah, we will take a look at that. Okay, let me talk a little bit about academic integrity and plagiarism. But before I go on, let me give you your second view quiz answer. The second view quiz answer is the letter C. C as in cat. C as in cat. So you'll want to put that into your view quiz. Okay, I could probably update this with some stuff about ChatGPT as well. But there's a lot of good code out there already that will do exactly what you need to do. If you search hard enough, you could probably find answers to a lot of like homework questions or something similar. You can probably find somebody to do the thing. You know, ChatGPT is very impressive. You can type in your questions and it will probably give you a good answer. Not always 100% right, but pretty good. And it can even help you write code, right? Like you can write code that doesn't work and you say, hey, fix this for me, and it might figure out what's wrong and fix it for you, okay? When you graduate and you're working and your goal is to get the job done, use the tools that are available to you, all right? Look things up on Google, find answers, find somebody who's done something similar to what you need to do. That's, you know, when you're working and your goal is getting the job done, get the job done, okay? This class, though, the goal is not getting the job done, okay? The goal is your learning. The goal is your learning. And I like to compare learning to like exercise and working out at the gym, okay? You know, some of the homework assignments, there will be, some aspects will be challenging, okay? And this is by design. This is what I want. You know, if you go to the gym and you do a workout and it wasn't hard at all, you didn't break a sweat, you're not tired after your workout, would you say you got a good workout? Probably not, right? You know, it's not, when you go to the gym, the goal is not that the weight gets lifted off the ground, okay? It is the process of lifting the weight off the ground that makes you stronger, right? The goal is for you to gain strength or to, you know, exercise your cardiovascular system and things like that. If the workout you're doing doesn't push you at all, you can't expect to get stronger. And similarly with, you know, your brain, if you are not being challenged by any of the material, you can't expect your brain to be getting stronger, okay? Or getting, you know, forming new neural connections and things like that. You know, their learning happens when you struggle with the material. When you struggle through something, when you wrestle with something and you kind of get that aha breakthrough moment or whatever, that's when, you know, your brains are forming new neuron connections. You know, when you go to sleep at night, your brain forms new neural pathways and things like that. And that's how you improve and get better at a lot of stuff. When you go and you ask an AI for the answer, or if you copy your answer off of someone else, or if you search out the answer online, that is robbing you of that opportunity to challenge your brain, okay? It's kind of like going to the gym, saying, hey, I want to lift some weights, or I want weights lifted. And so you say, well, you know, this is pretty heavy. You, sir, you look strong. Can you lift these weights for me? And they lift the weights for you, and you go, great, the weights got lifted. We had a great workout today, okay? That's not going to help you get stronger, okay? And if you take that approach with your homework, that's not going to help you learn, okay? And so, you know, the struggle of lifting the weight, the struggle of exercising and sweating and all of that helps you improve. And similarly, the struggle of struggling through your homework and wrestling with the material is going to help your brain expand and grow. And so I want you to take that approach when it comes to the homework. I want you to look at it as, an opportunity for you to kind of work out and exercise for your brain. When students do end up plagiarizing or asking, copying answers or something from something else, I think what has happened is they've confused the goals of the course. They get it mixed up where they think, the goal is to get the weights lifted, not for me to do the lifting of the weights and get stronger. They get confused and they think the goal is I need to submit something for this homework and I need to get my points. But that's not the goal. I don't care, right? Like, when I assign homework, I assign homework for your benefit, not because like I want to read your answers. Okay. The goal and of the homework is your learning. Okay. And I get it. Like, you want to get your points for your class, and when we do grading, we kind of look at like, is your answer right or wrong? And with a bunch of students, I'm not able to kind of create these individualized grading schemas, and that's just not going to work. But we have, keep in mind that's the goal of the homework. Okay. Work hard and try to figure these things out. There is. You have Campuswire. You can go to Campuswire and ask for help. The rule on Campuswire is you can answer each other's questions, but you cannot write code. Okay? So you can say like, hey, how do you get started? What function or how should I think about this problem? And you can answer that, but you're not allowed to write like, this is the line of code that you need to execute. Okay? And there's a lot of ways you can help each other out and answer questions without necessarily writing lines of code. Okay, and so I've written some examples of what's allowed versus what's not allowed and things like that. There is going to be quite a bit of coding, and that appears in some of the lecture slides and things like that. And so if you want to discuss code that appears on the slides, totally fine. But when it comes to like a homework problem, you're not allowed to say, hey, what is the line of code that I need to write? Okay. I want to give you a little spiel on grades and life, and so with kind of these last few minutes, I want to talk about this a little bit. Let me go ahead and give you your last view quiz answer. Last view quiz answer is the letter E. E as an elephant. And I don't know. Please forgive me. Throughout the course, I'll interject little bits of opinion and wisdom or whatever here and there, and just listen to this old man talking, I guess. But one thing I want to say is your grades do not define you. Okay, and I remember what it was like being a student. I remember all of my time and energy going into my schoolwork, and it was all kind of for this payoff at the end where you get this grade, and when you got the grade you wanted, when you got that A, it felt good, and then when you didn't get the grade you wanted, it didn't feel good, and sometimes it was frustrating and disheartening, and during that time there can be a temptation, or not a temptation, but maybe this pitfall where we view ourselves in light of our grades. We find, let me tell you, I cut out the story time, but let me tell you a little bit about kind of my own personal journey and my own personal story. Was that, in high school, I worked hard. And I had this dream of going to a school, college. I said I want to go to this college, and to get into that college I need good grades. And in high school I worked hard, I got good grades, and senior year I got my admission letter to Caltech, and I was very excited. That was my dream school, and it felt like, yes, all of this energy and time I put into studying and all of this all paid off. And because I got into got into my dream school, and so I enrolled and I went. Freshman year, Caltech's on quarter system, so I understand the fast pace of things. Freshman fall quarter, I got my first C ever, and I thought, oh dear, this is rough. And then winter quarter, I got my first D ever, and then spring quarter, it's like everything fell apart, and I failed multiple classes. I got put on academic probation, and it was really disheartening. I became depressed, and the problem was that I had tied so much of my identity to my grades. In high school, I felt like, I'm not a star athlete, and that's probably no surprise. I had a few friends, but I wasn't very popular or anything. But I said, that's okay. I have good grades. And so I saw, like, I have value as a person, like I have good grades, therefore I have value as a person, right? I had tied so much of my identity and self-worth to my grades. And so when I went to Caltech, and when I failed all of those classes and I had bad grades, I felt like I have bad grades, I don't have good grades, I no longer have value as a person, right? I had tied so much of my self-worth and my identity to my academic achievements, and because of that, like I didn't see value in myself. I'm very grateful. During that time, my father was very supportive and said, and basically told me, like, I know it was your dream to go to this school, but it's, seeing you like this, it's not worth it. And basically, he allowed, those words allowed me to kind of let go of this dream of going to Caltech. I ended up dropping out of Caltech. I transferred to another school, ended up in Michigan, finished my engineering degree over there. But and it was a very painful time while I was going through it. But being able to look back on that with some distance, I think it was necessary to help me kind of divorce myself from, where do I draw value as a person, okay? And I no longer draw it from my academic achievements or now my professional achievements. Like, it's nice to get good grades. It's nice to be rewarded for, your hard work and stuff. But yeah, I recognize, I'm a person, and I have, my faith. I am able to relate to people. I have, I'm capable of love and all of this stuff. And it sounds so dumb, but also it's been important to be able to separate myself from that. And I don't know where you are on your own kind of personal journeys, and maybe you have a healthy relationship with your grades, but I imagine some of you might have an unhealthy relationship with your grades, and maybe find a little bit too much of your self-worth and self-value in your grades. And so I just want to kind of say this, your grades do not define you. You as a person, your value is so much more than just letters on a piece of paper. And later on, when you're working, your value as a person is so much more than just your income and title. There's as a human being, you are capable of so much more than just academic and professional achievements. Okay, so thanks for hearing that out. I want to talk a little bit about work-life balance. And so I've kind of listed off things, and I have 3 broad categories for like where our time and energy go. And these are big categories, right? Work, which includes actual work, where you have a job or an internship, but also like school and academics, and some of you are working and attending school, and you understand there's a struggle there with just kind of maintaining your time there, right? And some of you are like presidents of different clubs and things like that, and that requires your time too, right? And beyond that, you have other people, right? Relationships, right? You have friends and family, Some of you have a romantic partner. And those all require time, energy, and attention, okay? And you also have to take care of yourself. You have to take care of your physical health, which includes eating healthy and getting exercise and sleeping. And you have to take care of your mental health, which includes sleeping and, having fun, doing things that you like. If you're spiritual or religious, take care of your spiritual health, things like that. Sleep is super, super important. And you know what? We only have 24 hours in a day, okay? And we're not able to give 100% to all of these things, right? If you say, hey, I want to make sure I get 8 hours of sleep every day, which is a great goal, and it's a worthy goal to have, okay? You only have 16 hours for everything else. And, if school takes up this much time and, how much time do you have left over for exercise, or how much time do you have left over for friends or your family, or, calling your mom on the weekend and things like that. It's hard to give 100. Not hard. It's impossible to give 100% to everything. And so we have to make choices. We have to make choices about what gets our time and attention and what doesn't. And what happens is when you don't give time and attention to a certain aspect, that part of your life will not flourish. That part of your life will diminish or wither or things like that. And that's just the natural thing that happens, okay? If you sign up to be a part of a club, but you don't go to any of the meetings, you're not going to be a valued member of that club, okay? And I wrote this, and I think this is a very important line. Satisfaction, okay, as far as work-life balance, you can find this by accepting the natural consequences of what happens when you don't invest a lot of time into something, okay? It's already 9:49, but, in the current stage of life where I am, okay, I have two young children. I'm not that young anymore. I got these two beautiful daughters, a 9-year-old and a 5-year-old, and I invest a lot of time in my family. And between investing time in my family and investing time for work, and I'm also involved at my church and things like that, I don't have a ton of time left over for friends, okay? I'm trying to think, when was the last time I hung out with a friend or went to a movies? I mean, I don't know, with a friend, and it's been a while. And so just what has naturally happened is I'm not as close as I am to, some of my, if I think back, 15, 20 years, I had some very close friends, and today I'm just not as close to them. There's no bad blood. There's nothing wrong with any of these friendships, but just I'm not as close. I don't know, the personal and intimate details of their life as I used to, and that's just kind of what has happened. We just we don't spend as much time together, and I'm okay with that. It's a little bit sad, but it's also it makes sense regarding how I've split my time. And so I gave some silly examples of if you get involved in a romantic partner and you spend a lot of time with your romantic partner and not with your original group of friends, you're gonna be closer to your romantic partner and not as close to your original group of friends. That's just naturally what happens, okay? Similarly with your schoolwork and things. And so one thing is, there might be a time where you have to make a decision. Do I do my homework, or do I am I a good friend to somebody in need, okay? And you might have to make a choice, and that might mean I don't complete my homework to 100%. And the natural consequences of that is you're not going to get 100% of the points, okay? And I want you to be okay with that. I want you to say, you know what, in this moment, it was more important for me to be a good friend than it was to get these points on the homework, right? And if I know that feels like anathema to a lot of you, but I want you to give yourself room for that. Okay. Also, I'm pretty flexible with deadlines. If you need a few extra days to finish a homework assignment, just come see me during office hours. Again, office hours, not email. Come see me in office hours and say, hey, this is what's going on in my life. Can I get a few extra days to do the homework? I'm pretty generous regarding homework extensions. So anyway, I'm looking forward to a great spring quarter with you guys. I'd love to see you guys 9 a.m. on Wednesday. We'll see you then. And anyway, have a great rest of your day. We'll see you all on Wednesday.